Our first story this week asks, what does America actually agree on? As cultural and political polarization increases in the United States, it's easy to believe that the country can't agree on much. But that isn't necessarily true. Looking across national surveys from Pew, YouGov, Gallup, and others, we see a country where certain things unify the public. Tipping, 92% of Americans tip at sit down restaurants. Travel behaviors, 82% believe it is unacceptable to fly drunk. Small businesses, 86% say SMBs have a positive impact on the country. Hard drug use, 88% believe marijuana should be legal for medical or recreational use. Relationships, 81% believe divorce is morally acceptable. A hatred of music on public transport, and spirituality are all things that bring us together. However, gun control, 61% of Americans believe getting a gun is too easy. Media usage, 47% are on Instagram. AI, only 37% believe AI will end humanity. Education and one night stands, 51% of Americans say they've had one, still separate the public. Check out the show notes from the raw data from over 140 surveys and a full chart that lays out an atlas of American agreement. Next, let's talk about mercenary recruitment. So, as modern careers are shifting more towards instability, flexibility, and gig work, the death of the 9 to 5 and the role of AI in work are frequently discussed. However, while technology is changing how we work, it's also changing how we look for work and whether we stay. Recent research from Gallup shows that 50% of US recruitment referrals are on LinkedIn, up from 39% in 2015. And another 21% come from job sites and search boards. While LinkedIn's impact on job seeking isn't surprising, the impact it has on employee retention is. Gallup found 70% of employees recruited in the last 3 months from job sites say they're likely to leave, while 61% of recent hires from LinkedIn say the same. So, are the online marketplaces where we search for employment creating a more mercenary approach to jobs? Or are they simply reflecting what employees are looking for in today's world? Now, let's talk about artificial intelligence and lying. Verge's review of Google's new Pixel 9 goes far beyond talking about the hardware and features, as its AI powered photo editing capabilities have opened some far ranging questions on the capability for disinformation. While the feature is nominally for regrading and coloring photos, or removing or adding people to your photos, the wider implications of being able to easily reimagine photos are clear. We're entering an age where, as the author Pomerantsev once put it, describing 2000s Russia, nothing is true and everything is possible. Now, Google's magic editor in photos on its own won't destroy society as we know it. Its impact on Instagram feeds is still debatable. However, as claims of doctored photos pervade the US presidential election, we know it is part of something bigger. It contributes to a concept called a liar's dividend, where disinformation doesn't convince others of a false truth, but just by existing, it does allow a greater denial of reality. This liar's dividend is already playing a role in our daily lives. And while the growth of things like digital cameras amongst Gen Z may be one way to try and find objective truth in images, the genie is already out of the bottle and in our hands, at least in the shape of a well appointed new Android phone, if you ask Verge. Let's talk about the emerging pay to surface model between content owners and AI companies. So, content publisher Condé Nast, who publishes Vogue, GQ, The New Yorker, and others, has entered into a partnership with OpenAI, allowing their content to be used by the company. Now, this is going to contribute to the maturation of how AI companies are obtaining, training on, and surfacing content to users. The long standing tension between content owners, wary of how their content and data is used, consensually or otherwise, and AI companies, hungry for new data to train their models and find a competitive edge, isn't going to go away overnight. But deals like this show how the relationship between the two is changing. Partnership seems like the more productive of the countermeasures content owners have available to them, with defensive techniques like data poisoning, where content is weaponized to harm the models that scrape it, seeming more short term on their impact. So, the potential of AI to sort, serve, and synthesize content is a huge opportunity for media owners. So, this deal looks to become the norm, not the exception going forward. Finally, this week, let's talk about the politics of influencers and its impact on trust in the age of TikTok. So, the power of influencers on social channels like TikTok has matured and scaled in the last 10 years. Just ask anyone trying to buy a cucumber in Iceland at the moment after the latest viral recipe. But as digital influencers begin to evolve beyond social media icons, first into business people and now as politicians, what does social media influence in politics look like? So, Caroline Gleick is an influencer running for a Utah Senate seat in this year's election. And her challenge, despite being a difficult race, raises questions about how influence intersects with trust in the age of TikTok. To be known in social channels is one thing, but can this be parlayed into wider trust for office? Influencer authenticity, especially amongst younger voters, is balanced with follower count and importance, according to recent research by Sprout Social. Additionally, research from David showed that political ads on TikTok generated higher negativity and less trust. So, social influencers are an undeniable part of a politician's arsenal, as shown by Harris's brat content success and a defined area for influencers at the US's Democratic National Convention. But can the direction of travel go both ways? So that influencers aren't just political promotion channels, they're also the product being sold.